Whoa, it's the Illusion reporting from somewhere on Spaceship Earth. Just got done feeding the chickens. Now I'm off to garden number one to do a little evening watering and see how everything's doing over here. It's been super hot today. So I was feeding the chickens, watching chickens being chickens. So we have this what are they? I forget what kind of chicken they are. We got one of these chickens that's all fluffy. What are they called? They're the fluffy chickens. And anyway, so it's small. We call it jelly bean. It's the small picked on chicken, right? So this chicken has been getting picked on by all the other big birds. A bunch of other big birds there, and the chicken's been getting picked on. So we're chicken sitting these 3 chickens that are here, and one of them is like super small but blind out of one eye. Its name's Popeye. It's a cool little chicken. Well, what was previously the smallest chicken of the flock now picks on the new smallest chicken, which is Popeye, who's blind out of one eye, and hassles that chicken, right? The bullied has become the bully. And so I was watching this, and I was thinking about the Tim Pool video I made earlier about what that is, and it dawned on me that there's a woke right. Bear with me for a second. Who is the woke right? What is the woke right? Well, so the woke left, right, is all the people that didn't have any power in high school and earlier in their life or in their life at all got together and realized they could gain power in this sort of woke movement of social justice warrior, progressive, alphabet, LGB, XYZ stuff, and all of that stuff, that they could gain a certain amount of power by coming together and using all of the tropes at their disposal to basically take down, for lack of a better word, jocks, or previously people that used to pick on them in high school. And so the interesting thing is, I've been studying this situation with Tim Pool and the Gifted Hater, because it's skateboarding related, but it's sort of one of these characters who slipped into the right-wing MAGA pro-Trump camp, who happens to claim to be a skateboarder, right? And is now using their influence that they gained by being MAGA, Trump-tarded, right-wing, to now use that power they gained over in the political grift, the political social grift, to come over and try to influence skateboarding by asserting their power gained in social media, political commentary, etc. And so I was thinking about who Tim Pool must have been as a skater, 15 years ago. But the dude's like 38, 30 something, right? So the prime of his skating is the turn of the century, right? The aughts, early aughts, late 90s, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, a dude like that probably was getting hassled and somewhat picked on and a little bit bullied, and went and found his own way, and now is in a position of power and influence and has resources at his disposal. And so what does he want to do? He wants to pick on those that picked on him, right? The bullied wants to become the bully. And so I was listening to all this, and why I'm sort of fascinated on this lens is because Tim Pool is the perfect lens of who the new MAGA right are. And they're pretty much the same people that the woke left are. And they're that whole middle demographic in high school that got picked on. That's who they are, right? And they're the same group, but opposite sides of that coin. So most of these like MAGA people or MAGA influencers are former high school nerds who now are in a position of power and influence and want to dictate the cultural norms on a group of people who don't want to have their cultural norms dictated on, right? So the bullied have become the bully. And so let's not forget that in my cycle of life, once upon a time, it used to be the right that bullied the left. Yeah? The right that bullied the left, i.e., the Tipper Gores, those crazy Westboro Baptist dudes, all of that sort of weird kind of right-wing censorship, all that stuff. And then the left came in and basically did the same thing the right did to them, which was be full pro-censorship, pro-dictating the norms of and trying to push their cultural values on everybody else. And now the pendulum is swinging back the other way. And I look at most of these people who have grabbed on to influence the social zeitgeist as basically nerds and weirdos that in high school weren't the cool people. Not that I ever was either. I got completely hassled in high school, dude. But I think from my perspective is that made me an independent thinker, right? I don't have to pull that situation where I need to make up for lost time, right? Like I'm not trying to right the wrongs that were done to me in high school by Bill Burgetti and Joey Silcox and Pete Payne and all of those dudes. Like I don't move on. Like we move on, right? I don't need to crush anyone. And why I've kind of caught in on this thing with the gifted hater and Tim Pool is because Tim Pool truly is unhinged about this thing going on with gifted hater. And I'll give Gifted Hater has filleted that dude. And all that dude can do is try to bully the Gifted Hater. And it's this weird thing where, like, if you have more viewers and followers on, let's say, YouTube, like Tim Pool's pulling, like, I don't know, last I looked at 1.2.8 million, 1,280,000 viewers on YouTube. God knows how many subscribers he's got on his independent platforms and all that kind of stuff. So he bags on someone like the Gifted Hater as he's only got like 106,000 or 18,000 subscribers, right? And that whole Tim Pool clique of that genre of him, the Quartering, and all those dudes, all view their thing on that, so they get to like try to hold your head underwater. And it's no different than the jocks in the locker room trying to be like, no, we're cooler than you, therefore you must submit to me because we are higher in the status column here. And I've realized that there's the whole segment of this conservative thing that are the same people that lead the woke thing. And they're all of these people that if you went back into the Wayback Machine of high school, they all would have been nobodies caught in the middle. Like generic. Go back. I went to like a huge high school, right? With like 4,000 kids or something, like maybe 2,000. I forget what the number was, right? A lot of kids, maybe a couple grand, 2,600, something like that. There's the people that I could name that I wasn't even friends with, but I could name them, right? Like those dudes that hassled me and this and all the cool kids, like I could name them. And then there was that probably is like 30 people. Then there was like my friends that I could name, which are probably another 30 people. And then there was the other 2,400 people that I don't remember, had no interaction with, that just went about their lives. And due to my uniqueness, I was able to chip off a pretty eclectic group of people that I've always been able to do, right? Because I've never settled for that status quo pecking order stuff. I just don't care. But I went through it in high school. So I look back now and I see a lot of these people who were influence peddlers on the right as people that were in their teenage years in high school, totally in the background of their realities, just pixels in the high school yearbook. Just, if you have the big class photo, just pixels, not even faces you would recognize, like, I don't know, just some face, right? And now they have a position of influence and they want to do the same thing that the woke left just did, which is payback, man. Make up for lost time. Get to be the top of the pecking order, dude. Get to be the jocks in the locker room, dude, or whatever weird thing they're trying to do. And they're getting paid to do it, right? Just like all the lefty weirdos that you can go. I mean, imagine all these like Voshes and all these think about all of these characters that have amassed huge wealth. Not wealth. They're not really wealthy. They have amassed large piles of interest-bearing currency so that they can do whatever they want, and that's allowed them to peddle more influence and more influence. But at the end of the day, They're coming from a place of wounded high school nobody, right? And that to me is what the woke thing is. It's not a right-left thing at all. It's a exacting revenge on the social order because you now have power and influence due to your demographic surge. That's why most of these people are grifters, right? And what is a grifter? A grifter is someone who's taking advantage of the situation to basically line their own pockets or achieve influence and do that, so they have to fall into certain parameters, right? And you can dress yourself up and speak the language, and you can get yourself kind of fitting into any demographic you want. It's pretty easy to be a chameleon if that's what you're setting your mind to do. And hence the grifter doesn't have a lot of problem doing that. That's why they're grifters. And so I'm seeing this, and I'm really starting to see that the people that are influencing the conservative movement right now are the flip side of the people that are influencing the progressive movement. Because the progressives aren't liberals, dude. Let's be clear about that. They're not liberals, dude. But they're doing their thing, man. But they're the same group of people. That's what I figured out watching The Chicken. The people influencing the right and the people influencing the left are the same group of people. They are all high school pixels. And there's nothing wrong with having been a high school pixel, like to be in the background, because high school was stupid anyhow. I was listening to that Kurt Cobain song, School, and high school again. So there's no shame in being a background player in high school. As my mom said in high school, don't peak early. But what I'm getting at is their underlying motive is not to do good at all. Their underlying motive is to achieve power, to play out that thing. I get it. I understand it. I don't know, those are just some thoughts I'm having here as I wrap up the day on the farm. Link, join the channel, all that kind of good stuff. Use the name tags.